to the people of Karnataka.
Welcome you watching the Tuesday edition of This is Exclusive with me, Shavansan. Ladies and gentlemen, the claim that was made by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, many experts are now calling it laughable. The reason essentially being that till date, Canada has not provided any evidence about India's involvement in the killing of a Khalistani terrorist who goes by the name of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a man whose citizenship was also not granted by Canada for several years put together. In fact, now you have former US Pentagon official joining us in a short while from now, who's written extensively about the fact that how Canada has jumped the gun. But what made Justin Trudeau make a claim like this, which he hasn't been able to substantiate till date? Take a look at the headlines first, and then we start with that big exclusive coming in. Khalistanis provoke again, a stage protest outside Indian consulate in Ottawa, Vancouver and Toronto, but Trudeau government yet to act.
All of us need to make sure that we can come together as countries that take seriously sovereignty, take seriously security, and take seriously the potential of our relationship. But as you see here demonstrated, US and India are definitely stronger together.
Amid India-Canada standoff, United States expresses concern, says in touch with both countries. Major controversy as US envoy visits Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. Is United States trying to provoke India? Mega showdown in Bengaluru as hundreds take to the streets against Siddaramaiah government. Shops shut, roads deserted, and massive protest across Bengaluru comes to a standstill over Kaveri water war. Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat today will hold a mega rally to celebrate historic women's reservation bill in Ahmedabad. Relations between Canada and India are at their lowest ebb. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's statement to Canadian lawmakers alleging that Indian agents killed Khalistani activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar this June has caused relations to plunge to a new low. Diplomats have been expelled. There is little hope of reconciliation, which will now require both sides to have a serious, open and a layered political dialogue over the role of Canada's Indian diaspora, their politicization and its effects on Canada-India relations. However, the truth is that till today, the Khalistanis have been given a free hand in Canada. Just today, Khalistani extremists, terrorists, held protests outside Indian diplomatic missions in Ottawa, Toronto and Vancouver. In Toronto, demonstrators even went to the extent of desecrating the Indian flag. And all of this under Trudeau's regime. Here's a report, and then we get you that big interview coming in from the United States of America.
Even as India-Canada relations are seeing a nosedive, the K-rampage seems nowhere close to end under Trudeau's regime. Pro-Khalistani elements organize protests and rallies outside Indian consulates in different cities of Canada, demanding the expulsion of Indian diplomats. Khalistani terrorist organization seeks for justice's chief, Gurpatwant Singh Panoon, called the protests.
Khalistani! Khalistani! Khalistani!
However, the protest came out to be a flop show as Khalistanis failed to gather support, as only a handful of pro-Khalistanis came out to protest. And at some locations, spectators and media personnel outnumbered the protesters. The call for protest came after allegations were made by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau against India over the murder of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil. The world's condemnation of Trudeau's allegation is a slap on his face.
Yeah, we have always suffered, and some of the terrorists have found safe haven in Canada. Canadian Prime Minister has this way of just coming out with some outrageous allegations without any supporting proof. The same thing they did for Sri Lanka.
What I will say is we are deeply concerned by the allegations referenced by Prime Minister Trudeau. We remain in close contact with our Canadian partners, as the Secretary said on Friday. We believe it's critical that Canada's investigation proceed and that the perpetrators be brought to justice. And we have publicly and privately urged the Indian government to cooperate in the Canadian investigation.
With anti-India slogans being raised in Canada, an insult to Indian flag and the Prime Minister under Trudeau's regime, is Trudeau giving a free run to Khalistanis? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Well, in fact, we have a very special guest joining us on This Is Exclusive tonight. Michael Rubin, former Pentagon official, and he's also a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, who's joining us on this broadcast, written extensively about the recent standoff between India and Canada. Michael Rubin, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. Let me straight away begin by asking you, you've written extensively, and I would like to quote from what you've written. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has made a huge mistake. He has made allegations in a manner which he's not been able to back. There are two possibilities here, and you go on to talk about what could be those possibilities. But this is the backdrop of what US Ambassador to Canada essentially had to say, that Canada was acting on the inputs or intel that was provided by United States of America. Would you then change your statement, or do you still believe that Canadian Prime Minister, however, has made that huge mistake of going ahead and making what many are now calling it baseless allegation?
Well, I've read the U.S. Ambassador to Canada's statement, David Cohen, and it's not as definitive as somehow it's being made to play. He's trying to fill space on Canadian TV, but what he's saying is not that Canada based its accusations, but that the United States provided context. And that context could just as easily have been the gang warfare that resulted in the death of Rapudaman Singh Malik, in which Hardeep Singh Nijjar was probably complicit. When it came to the actual accusation against India, that was wholly on the Canadian security services. You know, intelligence is like a jigsaw puzzle. It seldom gives a clear picture. And there's no indication, even from Ambassador Cohen's statement, that the United States was drawing the same conclusions, which Justin Trudeau did.
Michael Rubin, how would you essentially read the current situation, keeping in mind that on the one hand, you have Canada, one of the oldest allies of United States of America, has been tested during the World War. And then you have India, which many are now calling it the new best friend of United States of America. Now, with these new revelations that have come in, and of course, this also comes in at a time when we are also looking at US Ambassador visiting Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. So do you believe, or do you see that perhaps what United States of America is essentially trying to do is warm up with almost everyone here, but somewhere down the line, some say that you're leaving India high and dry?
Well, on one hand, the United States policy is often like a gambler who only wants to put his money down once he sees what all the other cards are. It never works, but that's the State Department's instinct. That said, when it comes to the U.S. ambassador to Pakistan's ill-advised trip to occupied Gilgit and Baltistan, I don't believe that that is being directed from Washington. I believe that's just the stupid idiocy of one man not understanding the sensitivity. When George Shultz was the US Secretary of State during the Reagan administration, he used to bring every ambassador nominee to his office and say, point to your country. And if they pointed to Pakistan or to Canada or to Bhutan or to China as they were heading off there, he would basically dress them down. He would say, never forget your country's United States. Unfortunately, too many ambassadors want to have warm relations with the countries in which they serve, and they end up doing very stupid things. That's where I would categorize what the U.S. ambassador to Pakistan has done. All I can say is that the United States is playing catch up. Justin Trudeau has been a useful idiot for the ISI. Canada is abusing the magnanimity of the Western system. And what the Khalistanis are abusing the generosity of the Western system. And we're getting into a situation where the United States is playing catch up. But, as we play catch up, we're not going to be siding with Justin Trudeau in this. Many people, both within the intelligence community and frankly, within the Canadian system itself, think he has gone way too far. And now he's just trying to save his face. The US-India relationship isn't worth sacrificing to save the face of a prime minister who is superficial at the best of times and frankly is on his way out to an ignominious defeat inside Canada.
Michael Rubin, I find this assessment very interesting, but even though it may be hypothetical in nature, if a situation essentially comes up that perhaps the United States of America will have to make the choice between Canada and India, what is it that you believe that the current administration, the Biden administration, would essentially do? Or is it an easy choice? Because many are already saying that there could be a snap poll in Canada and Justin Trudeau could be on his way out, making things much more easier for the Biden administration. How do you essentially look the way forward?
Well, first of all, there's very little on which George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden agree. Perhaps the only thing they do agree on is the importance of the U.S.-Indian relationship. And so the White House, the mainstream Democrats, are going to be aghast at any pressure to separate ourselves from India on this. Now, there is a danger here in that when you have populists inside the Congress, especially on the progressive side, wanting to agitate against India and specifically against Prime Minister Modi, because there's a derangement syndrome which many U.S. progressives have about that, that would be dangerous if it gets out of control. The good point, however, is that you have many very responsible American Democrats, for example, Rouhani, a man with whom I agree on absolutely nothing, who will make sure that such Hindu phobia is not allowed to run out of control. So on one hand, while Congress can be the key in turning foreign policy consensus into a political football, look what happened with the U.S. relationship with Israel. Look what happened with the U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia. I don't think India is going to suffer that same fate. And as you said, Justin Trudeau is on his way out. At most, he has until 2025, but he would lose in any snap poll held today. And in all likelihood, his end is coming sooner rather than later. So I do believe that the United States is simply going to try to kick the can down the road until Trudeau is out of there. And also remember, from the American perspective, this is front and center in Indian headlines, in Canadian headlines. But whenever the White House wants a problem to go away and they're incapable of making it go away, they just wait until another crisis looms. And then they hope that the American public will forget about it. That was the case, for example, with the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal more than 2 years ago. And already what's headline news increasingly here is the Azerbaijan-Armenia crisis. And as the limelight passes by Canada and India, the White House is going to feel the pressure is off them.
Michael Rubin, what is the chatter like amongst the intelligence community, the intel community? Because given the fact that we're talking about the Five Eye Alliance, and if at all this has come from the Five Eye Alliance, for a moment there would be some credible information associated with it. And if that's the case, then why is it so very difficult for Canada to perhaps be upfront about it and tell the world that, look here, this is the kind of evidence we have? Or in any other given situation, a matter like this of grave importance would have either gone through a parliamentary inquiry or there would have been a proper thorough inquiry, and only then perhaps the head of the state would have chosen the floor of the parliament to make an announcement like this. But nothing of that sort has essentially happened. I want to understand perhaps what's the kind of chatter within your community in terms of the several claims that have been made so far.
Well, first of all, when it comes to the Five Eyes, the Five Eyes are aghast at what Justin Trudeau has done, because the whole idea of the Five Eyes is you share intelligence based on trust. You don't want the venality of one politician to lead to the exposure of such intelligence. And therefore, even within the Canadian Intelligence Service, you're having a lot of anger at Justin Trudeau because, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if soon we have the Four Eyes as people stop trusting Canada on issues like this. Then again, do you really believe that hypothetically, if Indian agents were behind this, they were talking openly about it on the phone? The answer to that is no. And therefore, what you probably have with regard to the intelligence is much less than what Justin Trudeau has talked about. The Americans have said where they provided context after the fact. That itself shows they had no smoking gun because they weren't aware of the plot ahead of time. The Premier of British Columbia said that when he had gotten briefed by the Canadian Intelligence Service, it was entirely unclassified. It was essentially a Google search. If you remember back in 2004 or 2003, against the backdrop of the Iraq War and the weapons of mass destruction fiasco, there was something called the dodgy dozier, in which briefings were being given completely from an unclassified plagiarized report. And it ended up blowing up in the British government's face. I believe something like this is at play when it comes to Canada right now. And lastly, let's look at what the United States does when there is proof. I happen to know Jamal Khashoggi, who in 2018 was assassinated at the Saudi consulate inside Turkey. As soon as Turkey leveled their accusations and Canada denied them, as soon as Saudi Arabia denied them, Turkey went forward and provided the proof. They had to do so by exposing the fact that they had bugged the Saudi consulate, but they provided proof nonetheless. Is Justin Trudeau willing to provide proof? It doesn't seem that, A, he has proof, and if he does have proof, I don't think the Canadians, the Americans want him to provide it. Frankly, I believe this to be a product of gang warfare. I think you have to look at revenge for the assassination of Rapudaman Singh Mali. And I think that Justin Trudeau has to ask some very tough questions about why he's politicizing a police investigation now when he didn't do so in the case of Karima Baluch. Again, I circle back to the fact that on any number of ways, dating back years, it looks like Justin Trudeau is a useful idiot for the ISI.
Well, thank you very much, Michael Rubin, for putting this into perspective. And of course, as many are now raising this question as to the alacrity with which Justin Trudeau has spoken about a Khalistani terrorist, we haven't really seen that kind of a response when it comes to the multiple extradition requests that India has sent out with regards to Khalistani extremists, terrorists who have been given a complete free hand. Thank you very much for joining us on This Is Exclusive. On the other side, news and updates continue. A major controversy has also broken out with regards to US envoy visiting Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. We'll get to the latest on the other side.
Amity University is proud to present the Faculty Research Awards by Careers 360, acknowledging India's brightest minds in the field of academic research. At Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, New Delhi on the 6th of October, as part of Amity's commitment to further research and innovation in our country.
3, 2, 1. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched. So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched. So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched. So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched. So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched. So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched. So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka. We are now called as Republic
Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Viewers, we're live and breaking up. Shubhangi Shukla getting you the latest. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is in New York leading the Indian delegation at the 78th United Nations General Assembly, and he will be speaking very soon. We'll get to all the details of that, but first the headlines we are tracking at this moment. Stand by for External Affairs Minister's address at the United Nations General Assembly.